Who's your favorite teammate and why?
Favorite teammate? I'm going to go with Joe Carnahan. Joe Carnahan, first of all, his accent was amazing.
Australian.
Close.
Norwegian.
Also close. He's from like Milwaukee, right? So just this great...
That's a lovely accent.
Yeah, just a great...
New Jersey.
So he was just like great energy. Like you knew he had your back.
Yeah.
And the accent really drove it home. And man, this guy, Joe Carnahan, easy.
The vibe, you could go 0 for 4 and you know he's going to make you laugh.
Of course. Yeah, he was kind of salty though. You know, he had some edge. I remember one time, true story, I hit a home run and I hit it pretty far. So it kind of surprised me. It's actually in Irvine, Concordia University. And the pitcher got upset, which probably justifiably got upset about it. So I started running around. I get to home. The catcher, I wasn't paying. I guess he was upset. Joe Carnahan got in the catcher's face. That's who Joe Carnahan is.
Yeah.
I was oblivious to it all. I was doing, popping chains and, giving props to the good Lord above. But yeah, Joe, great guy. Lefty, sweet swing. Looked like he's from the 1920s.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like 5 o'clock shadow right after he shaved. That makes sense.
So beautiful. Yeah. If you're teaching a group of kids and you're letting them know about Joe Carnahan, what needs to stand out in their brains about him that is going to help that group become a great team?
Joe had 2 out of the 3 necessities, right? So I would focus on the 2 that he had, which were attitude and effort, right? You can control those. So when I'm talking to kids, he had that attitude of like, whatever it takes, I'm in, right? No matter what comes our way, good or bad, I'm in and I'm all in for everybody. Mm-hmm. And he gave effort, tremendous effort, regardless of the score. Now, the third one is treating others the way you want to be treated. 2 out of 3 is not bad.
There you go, Joe. Right? A little salt of the earth. We had some salty.
Yeah, what do you got? What's
folks.
Your...
I go Jeff Nichols. Jeff Nichols is still one of my best pals. He was in my wedding. I was in his. I tailgated his final engineering exam at Brown University. Whoa. Now, I never stepped foot into the engineering building at Brown U. That was not my thing. I was a theater, arts, and music guy. But back in the day when I had adult beverages, I've since retired for almost a decade now, I tailgated his final exam, and when he stepped out, he actually was the last person to finish. Grinder. Yeah. And it speaks to the way he brushed his teeth and the way that he took ground balls and stayed in the weight room late. He was the opposite of me, and he's the exact same as me all at one time. And I think if I'm teaching a kid, hey, here's how you be a good teammate, be like Jeff Nichols, he was just there for me. He was my pal. We could spend a Friday night, turn the lights off, and watch Braveheart in its entirety, right? Yeah, and he had my back when I was 0 for 25. Yeah. And he could just say, hey, Jimmy, we better watch Dumb and Dumber tonight,
Cheer you up.
Cheer you right up. But also, I was the loose cannon, and he was more straight down the line, like steady. Get there early, stay late, not gonna stay out too late, when there's a game the next day kind of guy. So he kept me on the rails. Yeah. The yin to my yang, but also my spirit animal. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Jeff Nichols.
I thought a good topic for today, it's episode 2. And what do we want to call this thing?
We've tossed a few things up in the air. While we've done that, I really like Coach Ballgame, Talkin' Shop with Coach Chop.
And I really like it a lot.
I mean, it rolls right off the tongue.
I like it a lot. Yeah. And it's ball game and it's chop, and we're talking the shop. And I coached a day of camp today, all day. It's day 44 of summer camp. I've been rolling all summer, and I'll hit the road Monday. We'll go to Iowa and St. Louis and Chicago, Williamsport, and New York City. And it's like my favorite thing to do is do my thing, play my tunes to new ears. I love it. Tell the stories, all the hits, give all the nicknames. So I'm very excited about that, and to share it with my 2 young daughters will be amazing. Show them the countryside a little bit.
That's so great.
It is great.
Yeah. Spreading joy and love, and it's so special. Anyone that hasn't done it before, go do it. You know where he's going. He said it, and you'll put stuff up there. You're going to tell him again, but if you have an opportunity, you got to go. It's special.
It's fun. It's
amazing.
I do take it very personally if it's not special.
It's special.
Yeah. But I love the topic of being a good teammate, and I feel like a great topic on that subject is how we can command our team, command their attention, and make sure that they know that we're holding them accountable for their choices, but finding that balance of each and every personality. I ran into 50 kids today. 49 of them listened on the first time. And it's the fourth day of the week, so they really know the expectations. They're dialed in. They got the uncomfortable eye contact. They know to hustle to a team meeting. But I had one kid having a tough day. Maybe he's had a tough month. That just would not budge. Yeah. And it's like, it took me a second to be, okay, all the other 49 are doing it. He should do it. Let me just say it louder. Go to right field. Oh, let me say it a little louder. Go to right field. And it took me a good 30 minutes to kind of get off my pedestal and be like, wait a second. Yeah. What is going on with this dude right now? And what's going on with me? Mm-hmm. How cocky of me to think, no, that kid's just going to jump on board with the other 49 because it's the majority. I don't know what's going on at the house with him, but maybe we'll start with this. The importance of commanding your group, because you and me both, I think we can be the most fun coaches out there. And I think kids go home thinking that. Yeah. Just that's the way we are.
That's right.
And at the same time, I don't let anything slide, and I don't think a lot of parents realize this until they see it in person. Before I'm the most fun, I'm not a sergeant, but I need all their attention. Yeah. And I will make sure they are looking at me for 12 quiet seconds, nice and still, and let them know that I have high expectations for your choices right now, and it starts with some respect. So how do you command the attention of your players right out of the gate?
It's one of those things where if you want respect or attention, you have to give it, right? So I set the expectation by providing it. So I'll tell a child, if he's not giving me eye contact, little Johnny, like, hey Johnny, like when you're talking to me, I'm looking you in the eyes and I'm showing you that respect. So you got to do the same thing. And this is important, not just on the field. This is as you get older, we got to show respect to our elders, and you have to be respectful. But I feel like you have to give it in order to get it. And that's kind of what I've always done. But your tone matters, stern but loving, right? Your body language matters. Being prepared matters. Being organized matters. Being on time. Your camp starts at 9. You're there before 6 a.m. Right? So, like, same thing. Like, if I have practice at 5, I'm there at 3:30 dragging the field, watering the field, being dialed in, like greeting the kids when they get there before practice, asking them how their day at school was, engaging them in two-ball or pepper or just getting going. But, like, they know you care. You've earned their respect. Yeah. Right? And your kids know you care. Now, does that mean 49 out of 50 are going to do it right? Sometimes. And then it comes down to, like, okay, I need to get down to their level and I need to talk to Billy and figure out what's going on, because this is out of character for Billy or something's going on. So you got to show them you care and that you love them. Yeah. Right? Absolutely. And I think that balance is very necessary right out of the gates, where, wow, this guy really cares. And I think that's the word, is just engage. Before I command their attention or teach them the uncomfortable eye contact or the epic team meeting pose, I definitely engage them with a, hey, my name's James. Yeah. My nickname's Coach Ballgame, right, because I love coaching baseball. My second favorite thing to do is eat spaghetti. My third favorite thing to do is play the drums. And if I can do all three at one time, I'm in heaven. Now, what is your name? Totally. And what is your nickname? And there's a line, 100 deep, of kids and parents waiting to get into baseball camp. But I let them know, this is the most important time of the week. Your kid needs to know I care. Yeah. I need to see your kid's face and come up with a good nickname based on things they love. You won't have to do this the rest of the week, but if it's going to be special,
wait 5 minutes,
Yeah.
And
Totally.
and so I do that before I lay the hammer down and say, okay, I don't really care if you win today. I don't care if you go 0 for 10 today. But you are going to listen to your coaches. You are going to give that quiet, uncomfortable eye contact. You're going to be respectful. And I really am quick when I see somebody out of line, especially early on, maybe the first practice or the first game. But there's that engagement and that command kind of balance. And I think a lot of it has to do with tone. Like if you were to teach a young coach or a parent about the balance of command tone versus engaging fun tone, like, is that teachable?
Boy, I think it can be kind of fine-tuned. I would argue some of it is kind of innate, right? You have a great coach, Coach Titan, who's amazing. And me as a parent who brought my kid to camp, right away I saw Coach Titan and was like, oh, he's got it, right? And it's that stern but loving tone, and it's engaged, and it's caring, and even the way they correct the way a kid's doing something is knowledgeable and kind, but stern. It's not like, hey, would you mind trying? It's like, no, you need to try it this way, and there's a reason, and sometimes he explains that, and you do, and I do as well.
Yep.
So it's just that balance, but can you teach it? I think there's got to be a little bit innate, but there's a lot you can teach too.
I had a good teacher, my buddy Dan Spring, and he's like, there's going to be constructive criticism in everything they do. Say something positive. I mean, all right, maybe it's just the fact that they have
like
great
your
shoes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Jinx.
That's funny. Jinx. Geez, that's a fist bumper.
That's
and we haven't done a handshake with uncomfortable eyes, so that's great stuff.
Good.
That does feel good.
Right.
Oh, man. And that's it. Bye-bye.
See you next week.
But I love the way you're down and ready. Now let's talk about that fielding position when the ball gets there. And then you can turn the volume up on stern if need be, right? You have to be intuitive.
Totally.
And when I'm hiring coaches, I'm looking at their heart. Can they be compassionate and patient? And then can they turn the volume up when necessary while still being compassionate?
Yeah, totally. Totally.
And boy, I am not perfect. And I have another topic we'll talk about in a little bit, and it's something I want to ask a guy you know well, manager of the Dodgers.
Yeah.
But there's definitely, I was taught that, right? I probably, and I know I did, just starting out coaching, I jumped at the negative. Whoa, what's going on there? That's wrong. And immediately they shut me off.
Totally.
And they shut
defensive,
everything
heels.
off. They get on the defensive, and they don't hear any of it.
That's right.
So I think I started out with a very jolly, happy vibe, no doubt about it. That's innate in me. But there was definitely things I learned to really keep the kids open, keep them listening, and I think you just grow a sensitivity to, oh, I overstepped my bounds, especially with this type of kid. They're shut off.
Totally.
I had my 1 out of 50 today that just wouldn't budge. I said, go to left, and they just wouldn't. And I said, oh, he can't hear me. Let me turn, go to left field.
Does he know who I am? I'm Coach Ballgame.
Yeah, I am Coach Ballgame, and all 49 of these. And you're the whoa. You are wrong, kid, and I am right. Go to left field. And I just stood there beside him, and he said, I got here first. I got to center field first.
Wow.
And we talk a lot about fighting over positions, right? You know, the kids want to fight over first base.
Yeah. Shortstop.
I always say if you're caught fighting over first base, you all go to the outfield.
Love that.
Where it's actually more fun, where the best players play, right? Roberto Clemente and Willie Mays and Shoeless Joe Jackson.
I like that.
But there is no fighting over the positions. You can do a little Rochambeau. Boom, boom, boom.
We've done it. We did it last episode.
Yes, we did. Yeah. Episode 1. Check it out.
Yeah.
But there was no budge here, and I had to remind myself to breathe.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Because
deep breath.
Yeah. Because it wasn't. I wasn't getting what I wanted.
Yeah.
Neither was he. He wasn't getting what he wanted.
That's
he wanted
true.
to play center, but he was needed in that moment to play left.
Yeah.
But a great quote, I don't know where I heard it, or maybe I made it up, and it's mine, is listen on the first time, especially if you don't want to.
Wow.
Right? Especially if you don't want to, listen on the first time. And that is my job as a coach, to help these parents out and say, kids, you don't want to listen to your mom or dad right now. You don't want to listen to them when they ask you to clean your room. That's when you definitely should do it, especially when you don't want to. Why? Because your team needs you to do that. Your family needs you to clean your room. That way you can move on to the next thing. Maybe that's dinner or bedtime, whatever it might be. His team needed him to go to left field in that moment, and he was not doing it. And it took about 20 minutes for me to kind of process it and be like, he really isn't budging. And I kind of just sat beside him for a little bit. He's out there in center field.
Yeah.
And then it was time for his team to go in the dugout, and I just kind of followed him, didn't say anything, and we sat beside each other in the dugout. And didn't say anything for a good 5 minutes. I've learned that sometimes just silence and sitting beside someone who's really not listening helps out a lot. And then I was able to calm down. I think he calmed down for the moment as well. And I just said, why didn't you listen to me?
Yeah.
And he said, I got there first. And I made up something like, well, your team needed you to play left field because that batter was a really good hitter and they always hit it to left field. And he said, that's not true. That wasn't a good hitter.
What? Player scout, okay.
And I said, touche, nice. Well, your team needed you to play left field. Bye. And I just walked off.
Walked it off?
And I walked, and I let it just sit. And then I did a little peekaboo behind me after a couple bit, and I could tell there was some processing going on.
Okay.
And we just ended with that. Wow. And then about an hour and a half later, I had a discussion with the whole group, and I said, you know, if you don't want to listen to your coach on the first time, I can relate. And that's where I knew I needed to go with it, and I wasn't able to in the moment.
Yeah.
That dude needed me to relate with him and get on his playing field and say, Coach Ballgame knows how you feel. He wanted to buck the system when he was a kid as well.
Oh my gosh.
He didn't like hearing some things from his teachers or coaches or parents, but he's learned along the way, this isn't an I thing. It's a we thing. Baseball is a we thing. And you know, you're not going to always get what you want.
Yeah.
Actually, you're rarely going to get what you want. And let's be really honest, hardly ever do you get what you want in this life, especially in baseball and team sports. So you've got to take that hat off, put a different kind of hat on, and just play a different game. You got to look through a different set of glasses. And it was more of a learning experience for me than the kid. But by the end of the day, it was like, you know, that was at 9:30, and we get to 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
There's a fist bump at the end of the day, and I'm like, started off rough. Got a lot better, didn't it? And he said, yeah, it did. And he actually won an award at 3 o'clock, the Bounce Back Award.
Nice.
For, you know, coming around full circle. And did it get to the place where, boom, he's going to listen right away? No.
Yeah.
But with that type of personality, if you can just go up an inch.
Inch by inch.
Then you're in good shape. That's so it was, I don't know, it was tough. Maybe you can throw out an example in your coaching life of something similar to that.
Yeah, I think you may not see right away with this example with this young man, but I'm sure he's had that similar interaction with a coach or a parent where they went off the handle on him and lost him, whereas you have no idea what kind of seed you planted there. And I think that's amazing.
Yep.
Right?
Well, just to speak to that real quick, as I was approaching him, and definitely my motor was running, and I was not calmed down yet, and I was here, and I was trying to get close. I could see him kind of backing off.
Yes.
Right, and he's like, it was like, oh, coach is the predator, I'm the prey right now. I need to dodge this guy. What is he going to do with me? And I was like, oh my gosh, he thinks I'm going to be aggressive towards him or something. And that's a moment where I'm sure a lot of coaches can relate, right? Your kid is not doing what you're asking them to do, and maybe they're in the wrong and you're in the right, but still, that ain't the point. And that was an eye opener for me. Like, this approach of being stern ain't working. Not with that audience. Yeah. So anyhow, that was.
Yeah, I got a couple of points, and for the coaches out there that are watching this today, I'm going to touch on a little bit of like you're talking about sandwiching your instruction, right? It's really important how we say things. Right? A positive tone versus a negative tone. Quick examples. Your kid's having trouble throwing strikes. Most coaches want to throw out, don't lose them. Like, you want to throw out, hey, force contact. Hey, you got this. Take a deep breath. Right?
So instead of don't lose them.
Right. Hey, throw a strike. Use your defense. Force contact. There's a positive way to say we need a strike.
Teach the do, preach the do, say the do, not the don't.
That's right. And that's science, right? Like, your mind only hears the negative. Right? If there's 2 strikes, a lot of coaches will throw out a don't strike out. Hey, put it in play. Hey, come on, Billy, put it in play. You got this. Take a deep breath. You know?
Yep.
So, like, that's really important. And then to your point with if you need to constructively instruct or criticize a player, right? There's a way to do it. And you start with that compliment. You have to. That's at the highest level.
Yeah.
You know, major league coaches talk about that behind closed doors. Like, we have to address this with a multi-million-dollar athlete. You have to do it the right way. Otherwise, they won't hear you.
Yeah.
Right? We're humans. Right? So you have to come at someone the right way with respect and love. So I'm going to come to Coach Ballgame and say, hey, best camp I've ever seen, bar none. Now you're open to my criticism.
Sure.
Right? I don't have any criticism because you're awesome. But if you have criticism for a player, now you have that opportunity to lovingly and respectfully give them the feedback that they do need to hear because you care about them and you want them to be great.
Yeah, I mean, everybody loves a good compliment.
No doubt.
That opens up the door. And kids,
I'm listening.
Boy, they love compliments. They love attention. They need it.
So, no doubt. So you get them in that moment, in that space where they can hear you. Tell them what they have to, what you got to say because you care about them. And then you finish it with a compliment again.
Yep.
Best camp I've ever seen. Smack them on the behind or the side. Go about your business. That's coaching.
Yep.
Right? And then the other point is you asked me about a situation. I have a really good situation with a coach. He was a player of mine named Sean. This was early in my career as a high school coach. So I was the hitting coach and I helped with, actually I was in charge of discipline. So 32 years old, I want to say, in charge of discipline. So I had a little bit of ego that went along with that back in the day.
Yep.
And I was really stern. And I thought that all the kids knew that I was stern because I cared about them. Right? Now I know as a coach, more important than anything, you got to make sure your kids know you care about them. And they have to know that you love them. That's first and foremost. That's the most important part of the whole deal.
Yeah.
End of the day, that's it. So I didn't do a great job of that. I was really stern with this young man in high school. Really good athlete, really good pitcher. He goes off to college, right? Fast forward 8 years down the road, I run into him. He's a coach now in high school. And he says, man, coach, I was really afraid of you in high school. Oh, it crushed me, right?
Yeah,
crushed me because I've learned what's really important.
Yeah.
You know, and it's about the kids knowing that you care about them and love them and that they're special and important and they matter.
Yeah.
And so as coaches, like, make sure they know that you love and you care about them. And that'll go back to how do you command their respect. They know you love and care about them. They're going to listen to you because you get something important to say to help them along their journey on and off the field.
It might take 6 hours.
Oh, yeah.
It might take 6 weeks.
months.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. But yeah, I can definitely get antsy, and I wanted that one kid out of 50 to listen to me immediately.
Yeah.
And it wasn't going to happen.
Not today.
Not today. And what a great learning experience for me. So, I mean, we both struggled early on. Yeah. I was passive aggressive in my 20s as a coach, and I would go to my boss and say, I didn't sign up for this. You know, these kids are just it's like herding cats.
Yeah.
And we get it. We get it when you're struggling with a coach, with coaching these young kids. I wanted to discuss, like, apologizing.
Yeah.
like as a coach, how important it is for me when I know I've messed up, right? You with Sean, me with so many.
Yes.
Even today, the way I went about it, I could have. I don't know. I mean, maybe not. I think I had a good gauge on. Okay, I'm overstepping it. Like finding that good balance.
Just like a good swing.
It's like just like a good swing.
Yeah.
But the importance of when you know you're in the wrong, owning up to it.
Totally.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
And being relatable in that sense to the player. I've done it before. I've definitely said I make mistakes. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
I made a mistake today. And I say it to my assistant coaches too if I feel like I'm too hard on them or something like that.
Yeah.
But maybe you can speak to that, and something I want to ask the doc, Coach Dave Roberts. Just the importance of
own up to it.
Owning up to it. Yeah. What do you got on that?
I think it's huge. I think it's important as a coach. I think it's important as a parent. I mean, I have 4 little boys, and I know when I was growing up, I thought my dad was perfect, right? So when I made a mistake, I thought I was on an island where only I made that mistake. Whereas now with my children, when they act out in, anger or tell a white lie, I'll tell them right out of the gate, you got that from me. You got that from me. And it took me a long time to work on it, and I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
But that's not how we do things. And as parents, we love you too much to let you get away with it.
Yeah.
So there's a consequence, but we love you, and you got that from me. So it's I think it's paramount to own up, right? And as a coach, it's really good with when a kid makes an error, this, that, and the other. Like, they don't get on their heels and scared. It's like, wait a second, this is an opportunity for all of us to learn. Mm-hmm. I made 3 mistakes today. I sent the guy with 1 out from second trying to score him. Had no business sending. He was out by 20 feet. I called the wrong bunt defense. So it's like, you make sure they know that like, I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
And you own up to it, and that's how you gain more respect.
Yeah.
Right? Society today wants to point the finger. Like, if we all just get behind, like, what can I correct that I did wrong? We got action. Mm-hmm. Right? So as a parent, as a coach, own up to it and be honest, and then try not to let it happen again. Yeah. Right? And that's how you come back to how you command the respect. Like, that's how.
Yeah. I've run into it with my oldest daughter, who's 7, and she's very smart and intuitive and
good at Legos too, right?
Great at Legos. Yeah. And dancing and gymnastics, and all sorts of stuff. But when I have those moments of, okay, I overreacted, and I communicate that to her, and I say, I'm not perfect, and I made a mistake, and I'm sorry. It's so hard.
Oh, yeah.
Because she made bad decisions, and we are on her all the time about not doing that, and she's done it, and I feel like a failure.
Yeah.
And I feel like she needs some stern to get to that next level. But the moments when I fess up or own up and say I'm not perfect is when she acts like I want her to. It's when she kind of opens up.
Totally.
And she starts to listen a whole lot more, and she gets more empathy in her tone, and then the next day is a way better day. So, I have covered way more ground by owning up to, hey, I messed up.
Yep.
And I overreacted, and it's my bad. And she's done a great job of learning how to communicate. Dad, it felt like you were yelling at me, and I just want you to communicate that.
Yeah.
And then I say, unwillingly, I can do that. I can be a little stern or yelly at times. And then she comes back with I'm sorry. Yeah, I was in the wrong there.
I love it.
And it's like, why didn't you do that when I yelled at you? And then it's a tutorial for me on fatherhood.
That's our ego.
That's my ego. Boy, I've got an ego. And so I'm constantly learning every day, right? And man,
I got a good question for you. If I may, and this might turn into another whole episode. But I know you found with kids, and it's a 4-letter word if you don't count the apostrophe, right? But the word I can't, right? How do you? To me, that's such a bad word as a kid because you're limiting yourself, right? And even with my coaches, when they say like, "Oh, so and so can't do that," well, wait a second. So and so can do that, and we're going to try. And if they fail, we're going to try again. And if they fail, we're going to try again. Yeah. We're going to keep trying. Yeah. But let's never allow can't. So how do you, when you see that, what are some of your tools or your ways that you handle that?
Yeah. First and foremost, I try and have a coach run the rest of what's going on and try to run that field. Yeah. And that kid's usually crying on the bench, or they're crying by their bag, or they're somewhere, and I'll just sit beside them. And this is a go-to because usually it's striking out or hitting a batter or walking 5 guys in a row. And I've got 2 perfect examples that actually happened. For pitchers, I sit there and they're expecting, maybe they're expecting to get chewed out, or they're expecting to get yelled at, and I just have silence. I just sit there. And they start to calm down when you don't say anything, but you sit beside them. It goes from like frantic to
slower breathing.
Yep, and then I'll just say, "Man, you're a good baseball player." And it depends on the kid. Sometimes it'll be a "Shut up, Coach Ballgame," right. Yeah, blah. Or sometimes it'll actually hit home. And then I move to. What did you have for breakfast?
I love it.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's just a buffer, just kind of a salad before the meal starts. Yeah. And I get a lot of different reactions, but I've spent 3 good minutes just quietly sitting with them, while the game's going on, and just to decompress.
Totally.
The moment, the moment of getting out, and then I throw out Coach Ballgame, and in their brain, they're thinking, I just know that they put me on this pedestal of he's way up there, and he knows Albert Pujols, and he's got a drum signed by Mike Trout, and he's Mike Trout. And I say, when I was 8 years old, there was a game, Pittsboro, North Carolina. I was the best player on the team, and I struck out 4 times in a row. But guess what I did that 5th time up? I struck out again. 0 for 5 strikeouts. Whew. And then that's when you actually get some looks like,
"Oh yeah, what?
You? Really?" And then if it's a pitcher, the first time I ever pitched, I threw fast. I threw it really fast, but I hit 8 straight batters to the point where the catcher had to come out and say, "James, I think we got to take you out. I think I got to tell the coach we got to take you out because we can't afford it. This is not working here, And when you get quiet with them, and you let them know you care, and you're not going to yell at them, and then you relate, they can relate to your failures way more than all the things you've succeeded with. So. That's where I go, just to decompress the whole situation. And then, once they've stopped crying, then you can start to build them up and say, "I saw something earlier in the day when you were playing catch with your partner. I saw improvement there."
Yeah.
And that's all we're looking for, right? That is just working your way up that stairwell. And this "I can't do it" business, well, that's just a lie. And that is not the truth.
That's right.
And I've learned you can be blunt with that. If somebody is being bullied and they feel sad because somebody called them fat, just going right to them and saying, that's a lie.
Right.
That's not true, and I know that, and that's all I have to say about that. And just being blunt with what's true and what's not.
Yeah.
If you've built up that comfort with them, and they trust you, right? If you've earned that trust, then they'll go there with you. So that's a good That's good. This has been a good podcast.
It's been a great podcast.
Yeah.
We talked about this. Currently, this is the number 1 ranked podcast amongst youth coaches who coach baseball on this block.
In Lake Forest.
Right. That's true. There's 2 votes. It's unanimous.
Voted on by both of us.
2 of us, and it's unanimous.
It's 2-0.
Yeah.
Nobody's voted against. Great reviews, too.
I mean,
5 stars. So we're coming up with a name, and we're pretty sure it's Coach Ballgame, TALKIN Chop.
With Coach Chop.
I love that. And we always end the episode with a fun little ditty. I've got some big trash cans.
This is going to be great.
And we're going to have some great guests coming up.
Yeah, we are.
We've already got them lined up. And this is
my favorite flavor.
Your
favorite
favorite
flavor.
Spitz.
This is a Canadian business. Spitz.
And you're smoky barbecue.
I'm a smoky barbecue type of guy. Salt and pepper is delicious as well. It's cracked pepper, but
I'm original myself.
Original Spitz, David's.
Oh boy, that's tough. I think I'd probably have to go Spitz as well.
We're gonna do 20, so like
out there.
That's probably close.
So what's the game, Coach?
I feel like we're gonna go for speed and accuracy.
Speed and accuracy. So who can polish off 20?
We gotta count them.
Yeah.
Is this a footstool? I hope. 3.
Yep.
Good. 4. Perfect. I don't know. 6. We can count 2. 7. 8. I'm counting out loud. 9.
10. I was listening to you count, so I lost count on mine. But I'm looking at 1, 2.
4 more. Now, if I didn't have integrity, I would get these in my mouth so I could soak them, which we all know makes it easier.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to do that.
But you have integrity.
I do. Yeah, I have just enough to
I'm
not.
I'm pretty sure that's 20 there. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
I didn't let you count mine, so I'm going to trust you.
19 and 20. There's 20 right there.
All right.
So I'm going back in with that. And
good luck. We're going to go just 1, 2, 3. Get them in there.
Polish off.
Yeah, get them done. And
on your marks.
I mean, good luck.
Get set. Boy, I immediately just want to sit back and enjoy it and watch the ball game. Now, are you swallowing the seed, or
No, chin up. Left molar, back left.
This should be an Olympic.
It might be.
Deal.
We'll be able to edit this so we'll go faster.
We'll add some music and fast forward it.
Yeah.
Thanks to Tommy, our editor.
Tommy Patton. Out of New York.
Feel like I'm coming around that second turn there.
Was that English?
It's tough when you don't get a clean.
Getting close.
I'm not even close. I feel like a chipmunk chewing on a
branch.
Box of
outside
hair.
my uncle's ranch. I got about 5 left.
Well, what if you spit and miss the trash can a little bit?
I love that. Extra credit.
I'm just slow with everything I do.
Well, you know what?
You're a California boy. I'm a Carolina boy.
No. You're deliberate.
That's it.
I got 2 left. Last one.
For all the marbles.
What do you got?
Literally like 7 left. Winner, champion, uncomfortable eyes, and as always, we'll probably never see you again.
We might not.
And I might not see him ever.
Oh, we're going to be gone for a bit.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the tour.
Say again where you're going, yeah.
I'm going to Dyersville, Iowa. Sandlot's there. We're going to St. Louis.
Yep.
Sandlot's there. Chicago.
Williamsport,
PA. And the Bronx.
Wow. Did someone say something about Yankee Stadium?
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing.
There's a Little League field.
Incredible.
Where the old Yankee Stadium field used to be, the house that Ruth built.
Yeah.
You can see new Yankee Stadium from there.
Wow.
We're doing it. We're
That's
really
so
doing
good.
it, Harry.
The only thing I'm sad about is we're going to be in Philadelphia and New York next week, and it doesn't line up.
Doesn't line up.
Because if it lined up,
Man.
it'd be amazing. You know?
And then you're going to St. Louis.
We are going to St. Louis,
but that's
later. It doesn't line up. This ain't heaven.
It will, though. We'll get it there.
This is our last chance. This is the last go around for me, which probably helps us, I would say, in the long run.
We're going to figure out the Zoom thing, how to do all that. But Tommy will help us maybe.
Tommy will dial us in.
Yep.
And we're going to have some amazing guests. We're going to give you some looks into baseball at the highest level, baseball at the youth level.
Peel back the curtain.
We're going to high school, college. Like we'll get it going. We'll get some scouts on here. We'll do some fun stuff. We'll kind of go all over the spectrum of this whole beautiful game we love so much.
Well, I've found this out. If you're going to change the culture and change the narrative and turn it on its head from, the youth sports helicopter win, pressure, burnout to what it should be, you got to interview major leaguers. And you got to interview people that, people know. And say, hey, what's your take on this? Oh, and then... if you just hammer it home from every single angle, then in 50 years, the culture will be back to a nice little happy sandlotty.
And we know this, but you ask any big leaguer what youth sport should be, and it will be the opposite of what it currently is. Every single one of them will tell you, make sure your kid's having fun.
Yeah.
And make sure he loves the game.
You know this because you literally live in a major league clubhouse for the last decade. You go on these plane flights. You hear everything.
Yeah.
You see them interact with their kids.
Yes.
So we'll have to interview these peeps.
Can't wait. It's going to be great.
Beard salute to you all. See you next time.
Have a great night.